Am I the asshole for refusing to let my brother-in-law spend the night in my room during a family vacation? If 21 went with my family on a vacation to beach resort. It was me, my dad, mom, my sister, 31, her husband, Bill, 37, and their 2 kids. My parenti booked 2 rooms and I got one for myself, meaning that I paid for it. They didn't force me, but I still paid. Anyways, I noticed that my sister and brother-in-law were acting strange before we got to the resort. At the hotel an argument ensued between them and my sister ended up kicking him out of the hotel room and stayed there with the kids. Brother-in-law then knocked on my door at 1 a.m. asking if he could stay with me for the night because my crazy sister unfairly yelled at him and kicked him out. I tried to pressure him to tell me, but he stalled. I said I didn't feel comfortable having him sleep in my room, but he snapped and told me that he was like a brother to me and I was being paranoid. I suggested I go talk to my sister and try to get her to let him into the room since he paid for it, but he said no and that she was the one who told him to stay with me. I suggested that I have mom come stay with me and he stay with dad, but he refused. I declined and said I couldn't let him spend the night in my room period. He got mad at me and went like borderline hysteric till the point where the staff got involved. My sister then came out the room and started arguing with him again, which resulted in him sleeping outside. My parents thought I should have let him stay with me, but my sister said it would have been inappropriate and denied telling him to knock on my door and asked to stay with me. He has stopped talking to me after that and my parents insisted that I should have let him stay and not let him sleep outside. They said I created unnecessary tension and added more stress to the vacation by acting selfish. Not the asshole. It's your room that you paid for, you have every right to deny people to stay in it. Even if you didn't pay for it, your comfort is most important and your brother-in-law sounds like a major creep. Edit for clarity. Not the asshole. That's very weird behavior from your brother-in-law. Good for you for standing your ground. Very much not the asshole. Your parents are wrong to say that you should sacrifice that kind of comfort to keep the peace. Somehow it is always women's job just to be polite instead of having boundaries respected, isn't it? You offered other solutions and he escalated. Not the asshole. Instead of communicating and working through the fight like an adult, he decides to throw a total temper tantrum and try and sleep in the private room you paid for? Yikes. Not the asshole. My parents insisted that I should have let him stay and not let him sleep outside. They said I created unnecessary tension and added more stress to the vacation by acting selfish. Your parents are ridiculous to put this on you somehow. Not the asshole. You offered alternatives and he didn't want them. That's scary. He insisted he stay in your room, going as far to lie and say your sister said to. Even if he didn't have bad intentions and just wanted to go to sleep, he has to understand how freaky that comes across. If someone I knew and trust with my whole heart was acting like that, I'd still say no. Am I the asshole for kicking out a guest for getting upset with my daughter? Throwaway as it involves a little too much info for my liking. Grammar isn't my strong suit, so sorry for any errors. 40s. Had a longtime friend, 40s, Mary, stay at my house this past week for a visit. Mary lives in a city 3 hours away and I live in the country on 20 acres, so she wanted to come on a vacation to catch up and unwind. Things went great for the most part until she woke up early one morning. This is where the problem started. I have a 9-year-old daughter named Lori. Every morning since it got warm out, Lori has started coming out on the porch as soon as she wakes up with a glass of tea and whatever book she is reading at that moment. She usually wakes up an hour before everyone else. Now, I don't mind this. She never leaves the porch and I have a Ring camera, so we had a discussion on rules around it, and as long as she continues as she has, her dad and I don't mind. Just an important note, our home is not close to a road, so we feel it's safe. Well, as I stated, one morning, Mary woke up early. I woke up to the camera as per usual and saw Lori on the porch and dozed back off. I woke up again to the camera and screaming. I checked the camera and rushed outside as Mary was yelling at Lori. When I got to the porch, Lori was in tears and Mary asked me if I knew Lori was outside when no one was awake. I told her yes and sorry for forgetting to tell her about this. I told her it's okay and Lori does this every morning and we are okay with it. Mary yelled that this was abuse as Lori was way too young to be outside without supervision. I informed her I had a camera and Lori was perfectly safe. She continued to lay into me about it until I told her I think it'd be best if she left. She packed up and left within the hour. My husband thinks I'm in the wrong for kicking Mary out when she was just concerned for Lori and that Mary was from the city where it isn't safe to allow something like this. I think I could be in the wrong for not explaining our mornings, but I don't think I'm wrong for allowing Lori her quiet mornings on the porch. Am I the asshole? TLDR. Friend from the city is mad that I let my 9-year-old sit on the porch before we wake up in the morning. AITA for kicking her out over it? Not the asshole. Even if your daughter was doing something wrong, she should never have screamed at her. That's enough to kick her out alone. Not the asshole. Your friend sounds unhinged. 9 is plenty old enough to sit on the porch and read. Not the asshole. I get the concern about your child, but it isn't her place to yell at her and then you about it. She is a friend and a guest in your house. She doesn't get a free pass to disrespect you or your child. Edit. Also, she could have asked your daughter about the situation, and if she was so concerned about it she could have sat outside until you woke up. It takes a certain level of immaturity to immediately yell at a child without talking to them first about the situation. Might even have scared your daughter enough that she won't want to do it anymore. Not the asshole. I really don't understand the concern at all. Certainly not enough to lose it on a 9-year-old. Your husband needs to back you up and Mary needs to understand her behavior was truly out of control, city living or not. What is the big deal about a 9-year-old reading on the porch in the morning? It sounds like a lovely way to start the day. Not the asshole. Is this real? Because your friend sounds a bit unhinged. How is reading on the porch abuse exactly? Letting her enjoy her healthy hobby. What a terrible parent you are. You were right for kicking her out. She screamed at you and your child, for no reason at all. If she was really concerned, she could have just asked Lori to go back inside or sat with her until you guys woke up and then talked to you. Like an adult. But screaming until the girl is in tears? That is the only abusive thing in the whole post. Not the asshole. Your daughter was on your front porch, not a nightclub 5 miles away. Plus your daughter is 9 years old. She understands the rules you set forth for her. Mary is overstepping her bounds by a lot to think that she can yell at you or your daughter. You are in no way in the wrong for letting Lori sit on the porch and read books and drink tea. Hell, that's a very mature thing and she should be encouraged. Don't know many 9-year-olds who do that. You've got one hell of a good kid by the sounds of it. Don't let this get her down. Am I the asshole for going skydiving without my best friend on her birthday? So a couple of months back I asked my best friend, we'll call her Lucy, what she really wanted to do for her 18th birthday if she could do anything. She said she really wanted to go skydiving with me and our other friend, Rachel. Normally, I wouldn't spend that kind of money on anyone's birthday, but Lucy has had a rough year. She recently lost her mom due to COVID. So I scheduled and paid for the 3 of us to go skydiving on Lucy's birthday, which is on Saturday, way back at the beginning of March. It cost several $100s, not to mention that I had a whole day planned. We'd get coffee, go skydiving, I'd take Lucy out for dinner at her favorite restaurant and then we'd end the night at a hotel downtown. Rachel pitched in to pay for the dinner and the hotel. I made sure that Lucy knew about these plans literally 2 months in advance, so that she could get the day off work. And she assured me that she had months ago. I've been annoying her for 2 months, texting her periodically just to check that she still had that day off and remembered not to make any plans. Well, flash forward to this morning and guess fucking what? A guy that she has a crush on at work asked her to switch shifts with him and she just couldn't say no. At first I thought she was joking. She's like, can't you just reschedule for another day? Have you already paid? I tell her of course I've already paid and it's non-refundable this close to the actual date, and that Rachel and I had already booked a room for the hotel as well. She's like, well, I'm sure if you just called you could get a refund. So I pull up the email from the skydiving company that literally says appointments are non-refundable. She's like, so, what are we going to do? I'm like, well, I know what Rachel and I will be doing. We're going skydiving with or without you. I already paid for it. Then she had the audacity to start crying and playing the victim. Wow, I can't believe my best friends are going skydiving and to dinner without me on my 18th birthday. All because I had to work. Some friends you guys are. If this was your birthday and we did something without you, you'd be pissed. She's the one who decided to pick up a 12-hour shift on the one day we'd made plans months in advance. I told her to text her crush back and say never mind, she can't take the shift. To which she replied, I can't do that, I already told him that I would. Like, bitch, you told me the same thing months ago. The way I see it, she's choosing a guy with a girlfriend in his late 20s over 2 girls she's been friends with for 4 years. Not the asshole. She knew you had plans, but she let her emotions get in the way of making a sound judgment call, and now she's having to face the consequences. I hope you and Rachel have a blast skydiving, and make sure to take lots of pictures. Not the asshole. You went out of your way for her. She has a crush on the wrong guy. I'm sure she's dropped birthday hints to this guy. Besides, why does he want the shift? Nope. No way. So have fun. Oh, and by the way, skydiving is awesome sauce. Not the asshole. She didn't have to work, she chose to take her crush's shift. Not the asshole. Sorry about the wasted ticket. That sucks. Because you organized a sensational day. Enjoy it. But don't bend over backwards for Lucy in a hurry. Fine if it suits, not a priority if it doesn't. Her loss. She's choosing a guy with a girlfriend in his late 20s over 2 girls she's been friends with for 4 years. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. He legit has a girlfriend already. She's showing you her true colors, so run. Drop this chick. Not the asshole. Have fun skydiving. Am I the asshole for refusing to bake for my gluten-free coworker's birthday? I'm the resident baker in my office. Typically I will bake something for every team member's birthday. There are 11 of us, but some birthdays are close together, so I bake probably every month or 2 for the office between birthdays and treats that I just feel like baking. I bake everything from scratch, and I'm somewhat particular about my ingredients, so not to toot my own horn too much, but I'm a decent baker. I usually ask people what flavors they like and just kinda run with it and bake what I feel like making. I do this all out of my own salary. The company doesn't pay me to do it, and I'll be honest, I don't make a lot of money. But I really love baking, and there's truly no greater joy for me than seeing someone bite into one of my cupcakes and tell me how good it is. Lol. My new coworker, Samantha, Sam, has a birthday coming up. Sam is gluten-free. I do not bake gluten-free for a few reasons. The main one is cost. Gluten-free flours are much more expensive than AP flour, putting them out of my budget. But also, I use gluten in my kitchen, so I cannot guarantee no cross-contamination. Lastly, I'm just not familiar with baking gluten-free, and I don't have tried and true recipes that are gluten-free, the way I do for wheat flour. Sam asked me what I was baking for her birthday, and I was honest that I wasn't planning on baking anything specific for it. She asked me why, and I told her my reasons, and she threw a fit. She went off on me, telling me she knew I didn't like her, and I'm jealous of her because she's young and cute. I'm not young anymore, but I think I'm pretty damn cute. I tried to explain to her that it wasn't about her as a person, but she said I was making excuses to exclude her. Now she's telling everyone in the office I'm discriminating against her for her health needs, and 2 people have told me I'm being cruel to the new girl. Too long did not read. I won't bake gluten-free, and my coworker said I'm discriminatory for it. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Don't bake for anyone anymore. When everyone asks why, oh, the last time I didn't because I couldn't guarantee no gluten cross-contamination. I was accused of discrimination. So it's only fair no one gets a cake now. Besides, people were becoming entitled despite this coming out of my own time and money. Not the asshole. But she's entitled AF. And so are the coworkers supporting her. Maybe you should stop baking for them altogether and find others more appropriate. I'm sure there's a soup kitchen or food bank that would appreciate a treat every now and then. Wow. Not the asshole. As a girlfriend person, for medical reasons, I would be completely uncomfortable if someone, the office baker, baked me something and called it GF. Likelihood is I'm going to get really sick if I eat that because you probably have micro scratches in your cake pan and can't eliminate the embedded gluten. So Sam is incredibly unreasonable and possibly not truly girlfriend for putting this expectation out. Not the asshole. This is a matter of safety and your own liability. Bring it up with HR, and consider stopping baking for the office. When people ask, just point out that you didn't feel it was fair to bake for anyone if you can't bake for everyone. It sucks, but it gets the point across that this one person's lack of grace about a favor she was not entitled to was your reason for stopping. You can make a chat and ask people to chip in for a gluten-free dessert so she feels included as an olive branch and just to keep the peace at your workplace. But I would definitely clarify to your coworkers the situation with the desserts. And honestly, moving forward, I would not bring anything anymore. Woman shrugging. It takes one person to ruin it for everyone. And what's worse, if she got sick from something you made, you would be the one in trouble. I would also let our know about the situation to cover all grounds. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Honestly, I'd just suggest you stop baking for the office altogether, and if and when your coworkers rally around you, they can either pitch or they can come forward and do some sort of accommodations for Sam. This is borderline worthy of choosing beggars. Absolutely not the asshole.